Foundation, or TCF, a model of philanthropy for TESOL and TEAL associations. And in today's session, I would like to also read the description. With endowments exceeding $1 million, the TEAL Charitable Foundation, or TCF, has a long history of giving to the EAL community, or English as an additional language. As the first charitable foundation in the world to be established by an EAL association, the TCF has operated for more than 30 years and has awarded hundreds of thousands of dollars in bursaries and scholarships to EAL professionals and students. This session will provide an account of the history, awards, fundraisers, recipients, as well as some of the challenges and recommendations for TESOL or TEAL associations who wish to establish a similar foundation. So that's very exciting. And I would also like to introduce our speaker today. Michael Galli completed his BEd with a specialization in TESOL from Concordia University in Montreal in 1991, and his MEd in Second Language Education from the University of Toronto, or OIC, in 2008. He is currently the chair of the TCF and former president of BC TEAL from 2007 to 2012. He is a lifetime contributor of BC TEAL and recipient of the TESOL Canada Honorary Life Member Award. Michael helped establish the International Student Entry Program at the British Columbia Institute of Technology and transitioned to the role of Manager of International Recruitment and Admissions at BCIT in 2016. Previously, he worked in Toronto for the Toronto Catholic District School Board and the University of Toronto. Welcome, Michael. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, James. And thank you, everybody, for joining us today. Very excited to talk about the TEAL Charitable Foundation. It's something that's very close to my heart, although I've only been living in British Columbia for about 15 years. I feel like I really entered a whole new family when I moved out here, and the BC TEAL organization itself is it's quite a. I mean, it's about 800 members now. At our peak, we were over 1,000. It's a great organization, and having the charitable foundation as a wing of the association is really a bonus. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the mission, the board of directors, give you some background on the foundation, show you what our Educator Awards are, our student awards, the kind of fundraising we've done and that we continue to do, and then show you some nice pics of our past recipients, talk about the challenges and recommendations that we have for you, and then we can do a little Q&A at the end. At any point, if you have any questions, please feel free to put them into the chat. And I think, Jermaine, you're going to maybe present those as we go along, and we'll save some at the end.
That's the idea, Michael. If you guys have any questions or comments throughout, if you can just put them in the chat box. And as Michael is talking, I'm going to be pulling out the information, presenting him for, I guess, a quick pause to answer and respond to some of those ideas. So feel free and don't be shy. We're right here for you. All right. All the best, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, we can make this a little bit of a conversational session. Feel free to jump in at any point. So the mission of the TCF is really simple, right? We're just here to promote the teaching and learning of EAL. In British Columbia, they refer to it as English as an additional language. Where I come from back east, it was always ESL, English as a second language. And I guess there are a number of acronyms that people use for it. But we have currently 6 members on our board of directors, and I am the current chair. Jennifer Pearson-Terrell, who is a force of nature and somebody who has been with the TEAL Charitable Foundation for years, as well as with the TEAL Association. She is our past chair and currently the awards chair. our treasurer is Carol May, who was the administrator for BC TEAL for years. She retired, but she came back to volunteer with us on the Charitable Foundation a few years ago now. Thankfully, because she brings with her a wealth of knowledge on the financial aspects of the foundation. We have a bookkeeper as well who does manage, does all the bookkeeping for us. But it is important to have a treasurer and if you can have somebody who has some financial knowledge or knowledge of financial matters, it certainly helps, because we didn't have Carol, from 2 years back, and our finances were not bad, but they're so much better organized now. So it definitely helps to have somebody with that little bit of background. Our secretary is Cindy Leibel, and she's probably our youngest and newest member. She brings with her all the skills of the internet, all things computing. She's far more knowledgeable than the rest of us. Virginia Christopher is also a past president of BC TEAL, and she's our fundraising chair, a very important role. And then we have one member at large now, Asa Sedki, who was also a board member of BC TEAL. So of all the 6 people that you see here, 5 of us were either past presidents or members at large on the BC TEAL board at one point. So a little bit of background. BC TEAL itself was established in 1967, so it goes back quite a ways. And then as an offshoot, they established the TEAL Charitable Foundation in 1986. It was the brainchild of one particular past president, and somebody who still contributes, even though he's long retired. His name is Nicholas Collins, and he and 2 other BC TEAL board members decided that establishing a charitable foundation would be a good idea. So first thing they had to do, I guess, was register as a charitable organization with Revenue Canada. And I suppose if you're in other countries, you would have to do the same. Having that charitable status allows us to engage in fundraising activities in order to support our mission, right? To support learners and teachers of EAL. When we do any of our fundraising events, the benefit of having the charitable status is that we can issue tax receipts. And you'd be surprised how much more willing people and organizations are to donate when you can provide that. So currently, again, we support teaching and learning of EAL by presenting 11 annual awards and scholarships. So annually, we can offer up to $27,500 to educators and learners. That's quite a bit of money. And funny enough, we don't always get applicants for all of the awards, and it's a pretty simple process to apply. But we do make it. We do issue many communications to the TEAL membership about those awards. But again, it's something that we contend with year after year. Some of the awards we just don't get applicants for. For the learner awards, we do get many applications, but it's more the teachers, the members of BC TEAL. The Educator Awards are only available to BC TEAL members. The learner awards, of course, they're not BC TEAL members, so those awards are usually meant for high school students who are going to study post-secondary. Now, when you do any fundraising for a foundation like this, you probably you have to deposit your funds into some kind of account. And in Vancouver, we have the Vancouver Foundation. So they administer about 1,600 funds. They have assets totaling $930 million. And they do this on behalf of individuals, families, corporations, and charities like the TEAL Charitable Foundation. So their endowment is listed as over $1.2 billion at this point. So the TCF has, like I put in the abstract, over $1 million in endowments. We could manage those funds ourselves if we were better equipped to do so, but most of us are EAL teachers or managers or administrators. We're not really investment folks, right? So it's much safer for us to have the endowments managed by an organization like the Vancouver Foundation. We see an annual return of about 3.5% to 4%. So again, if we have an individual endowment of $100,000, for example, we will get about $3,800 in interest every year from that. So it's a perpetual source of funding for our scholarships. When we first started doing fundraising back, I guess about a decade ago, the initial idea was just to raise some funds and give it away year after year, but it wasn't a sustaining concept. So we decided to raise a much larger amount and again establish a new endowment, and that's how we've established several of the Refugee Awards, and I'll go into that a little bit more detail afterwards. So the Educator Awards, back in 1986, and I wasn't here at that time, of course, not that old yet. Back in 1986, again, through Nicholas Collins and several of the other BC TEAL board members, their notion was to create Educator Awards. And so these awards have been around for some time, and some of them came a little bit later. But I guess in 1986, EAL, the whole profession, the whole field wasn't as well established as it is today. Many of the teachers and educators who are members of BC TEAL weren't necessarily working for organizations that would provide them professional development. They didn't have the funds to travel or engage in special projects that required funding. So the focus at the beginning was on these Educator Awards. And the BC TEAL TESOL Award, again, is meant for an educator to travel to a conference or some kind of professional development opportunity. There's a Health Education Award, which it started out actually as an AIDS and Health Education Award, and we changed the name over time. But originally it was, I guess, established in memoriam of one of the BC TEAL members who passed away from AIDS. But I think the description of the award was specific to AIDS awareness, and over time that became less necessary to generate that kind of awareness. But we still have the need to produce materials and resources and build awareness of health education in EAL. So many of the applications for this award will be for development of some kind of resource that assists EAL teachers to teach topics related to health education. And probably that would be more for the settlement, like link type programs. Mary Ashworth was one of the founding members of BC TEAL. So she in British Columbia, she was a big name, and Pat Wakefield as well. Those two were the dynamic duo of the time. and they were the, I guess, the impetus for the establishment of BC TEAL. And so when they passed away, in honor of them, these two scholarships were developed. And again, these are for EAL instructors to travel for conferences or other professional development opportunities. Nan Polyakov was a BC TEAL member. I believe that it was her family who wanted to establish a memorial award in her honor. And so that's an ongoing award as well. The project funding award is a slightly different award, whereas the other ones are mostly meant for travel to conferences, and the project funding award, of course, is specifically meant to promote a particular project. And quite often, again, we don't receive applications for this, but the BC TEAL organization sometimes will apply for the fund to support some kind of project for the conference, for their annual conference. So we usually are able to give away this. It seems surprising, doesn't it? We have all this money. It's free money. You just have to apply for it, and yet people, I'm not sure why, but they don't apply in the numbers that we would expect. A few years ago in BC, we had a settlement language association called ELSANet, and they administered most of the professional development, and they coordinated most of the LINK programs. In Canada, we have the Language Instruction for Newcomers to Canada program, which is federally funded. And the ELSANet organization over time became a LINK settlement resource organization. But then I believe it was 4 or 5 years ago now, they the mandate for that organization kind of disappeared. The federal government didn't feel the need to fund the organization any longer, and the organization disbanded. But they still had funds in their accounts that they had to disperse. So they decided to create a Settlement Language Resource Award, which again, they have the TEAL Charitable Foundation administer because the LINK Association no longer exists. So those are the Educator Awards. And again, these are for BC TEAL members specifically. When BC TEAL is, I guess, doing a membership drive, one of the benefits that they'll often refer to are these scholarships, because again, you have to be a TEAL member to receive these, and they're quite sizable when you think about it. $4,000, $3,000, $2,500. These are good chunks of money that people can use for travel, for PD, or for development of EAL resources.
Hey, Michael, a quick question. I'm not sure if you can maybe expand on it, but how do you guys go about, how does the foundation go about actually marketing or even advertising, I should say, the awards that we have? I know you mentioned several occasions that, well, most people, most teachers, they do not even apply. How do you go about doing that? I mean,
well, we usually when it's coming closer to the deadline, we will send out several notices to our membership.
okay.
That's a quick and easy one. You know, the deadline's coming up soon. Please apply for these awards. At the conferences, we'll always have a table and our banner up, and we'll man the table, and people can come and ask questions. That's another way that we make sure and that they're aware of it. In the newsletters that we produce, we always have a section for the TEAL Charitable Foundation. And then when we do fundraising events, also it brings awareness to the association. I mean, I would be surprised if any BC TEAL member were to say, you know, what is the TEAL Charitable Foundation? We promote it heavily to them, so I'm sure they're all aware of it. But the application process is not onerous. I think it's really I really don't have a good understanding of why these awards are not applied to by many people.
Okay. I've got a question here in the chat box, and she's wanting to know that are the awards for example, for the Health Education Award, is that only for one individual, or is it several people? Can several people actually apply for that, and they can get up to? So I suppose up to corresponds to the maximum amount that they can receive for that particular award, correct? Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And I can have several people applying. So if there are 5 or 10 people, yeah, I suppose you guys you know, divide and conquer, or how do you award? I mean, because I have a question in the chat, but how do you award those
Yeah.
in the event that you have, several applying?
Yeah. $4,000 doesn't go very far. So we would select one candidate. It could be several people who apply together, and then they just divide the funds accordingly. But we wouldn't offer two of these awards. On occasion, when we don't receive any applications for it, then we have to do something with that $4,000. And sometimes we will use it. We will offer two awards in the next year.
Okay.
If we get good applications that we can stand behind.
Okay.
Otherwise, those funds would go back into the endowment, or we would use them somewhere else in the
Okay.
to offer additional awards in one of the other categories.
Okay. There's also another question corresponding to other awards only for applicants in Canada. If I'm not mistaken, you said that they're only for BC TEAL members. Is that
Correct.
correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you're a BC TEAL member and you live outside of BC, I don't think we would discriminate against you. So yeah, I don't think people. I don't think I've ever seen an application from somebody who was outside of Canada, but perhaps there have been actually. Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah, go ahead. No more questions for now. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
No, that's good. That's good. It's nice to have a little break from the chat. Okay, the student awards. So we did have an award for an EAL learner who was an immigrant, and immigrants could be refugees to Canada as well, but for a landed immigrant. And then many times the students started out as landed immigrants and then they became Canadian citizens. We don't mind that, but they had to come to Canada as a landed immigrant. And the award is up to $3,000, and this is a scholarship. So as I understand it, the difference between a scholarship and a bursary/award is the scholarships are more focused on the students' academic grades. So when we have a competition, usually we'll get 20, maybe 20, 30 applications for the David C. Lamb Award. And then we'll look at the students' grades, we'll look at their letter of intent, and we'll have to make a decision based on that. But it's a little bit easier because often there's one or two candidates who stand out academically, and then it just makes it easier for us to make our selection. So that award has been around, I think, probably about 20 years now.
Okay. Got another quick question. Just out of curiosity, another participant's asking, what was the biggest challenge in setting up the awards?
Well, going back to the teacher awards, I can't speak to them because I wasn't here at the time. But from what I understand, just generating the endowment, again, if we're receiving 3 to 4% back from the Vancouver Foundation, to have an award of $3,000, $3,000 to $4,000, you need to have about $100,000 in your endowment. So raising that money was probably the greatest challenge. And I don't believe when they established these awards, I don't believe they did a lot of fundraising. They relied on a few things. The Vancouver Foundation, actually, at the beginning, they were offering matching funds, which is phenomenal. I mean, if you think about it, these are free dollars from an organization that you don't even have to work for. You just apply for them. So it made their fundraising much easier. Other than that, I think it was in the case of Nan Polyakov and Pat Wakefield, Mary Ashworth, I think their families wanted to create those scholarships, so they contributed large amounts to those funds.
Okay.
And
Got a couple
then
more.
with the Settlement Language Resource Award, again, that was the entire $100,000 came from the Link Association, so that was no work at all for us.
Okay, I got a couple more questions that came across. Are the student awards only for BC residents? Once again, another question similar to, can you apply or not, things of that nature. Yes.
Yes. So for the student awards, they do have to be students in British Columbia.
Okay, very good. And I've got another couple of questions. How did you raise the money in terms of what you're talking about a few minutes ago? And also, if you can give me some ideas about what type of fundraising initiatives, took place.
Okay. I'm going to move forward a couple of slides, and because I'm going to
Okay.
touch on
Oh,
that
sorry
very
about
specifically. No, it's perfect timing. Perfect timing.
that.
So yeah, after the language learner, the David Lamb EAL language learner scholarship, about 10 years ago, we decided to establish several awards for refugee students. And actually, the first one was the Tcf Refugee Award. And I believe that was 10 or 11 years ago. The TCF was in, I guess, a little bit of a stagnant place. We weren't, the committee at the time, the board at the time wasn't doing any fundraising. They were just administering all of the Educator Awards and the David Lamb Award. So they would meet
Okay.
once or twice a year to deliberate on the applicants, and then they would dole out the money. The problem was that they were the Vancouver Foundation. The return wasn't as great. I don't think they were receiving enough funds to actually cover these full awards, and so they were losing money. They were dipping into their endowment, actually, and their funds were actually coming down, which was problematic. So about 10 years ago, we decided to, all of those board members at the time were, I guess they had been on the TCF for a few years. They were stepping down, and Jennifer Pearson-Terrell stepped up and took over. And from that point on, we launched 3 subsequent scholarship or fundraising drives. And the first one, again, was a TCF Refugee Award. The second was one that was in memorial of my son who passed away. And then recently, we had a massive donation from Nick Collins, who, again, if you recall, was one of the founders of the TCF. And I'll tell you more about that in a moment. But getting people to donate is a big challenge. And some of the things that we have done to generate donations are, again, silent auctions. We held a 50-50 at one of our events, which didn't work out quite as well as we hoped, as well as the raffle, because in British Columbia, you need to have a gaming license, and it was quite problematic to get that. And so we steered away from the more gaming type fundraisers. I know people probably do a lot of 50-50 games at conferences, and technically we're not supposed to without having a gaming license. So you don't want to get in trouble with the gaming authority. It's probably a better idea to steer away from that. So we needed to think of other ways of fundraising, and people will do marathons and walks and things like, there's all kinds of events that you can organize. But in Vancouver, we have a mountain called Grouse Mountain, and there's a path that goes up that thousands of people do every year, and it's called the Grouse Grind. And if you ever come to Vancouver, don't do it. It could probably kill you. In fact, some people actually do, suffer cardiac arrest on the path. So it's not a fun hike, but people do it, and we raise up to $15,000 from one of these climb for the causes. We did a dance fundraiser. We did every year now from 2015. We've done a wine and cheese gala event, which is a lot of fun. And we try to tie it in with one of our conferences so that the attendees of the conference may want to have a night out. And lots of fun, lots of wine, lots of cheese. We have some nice speakers. But these are the main types of fundraisers that we engage in now.
Okay, got a couple more questions that came out. For starters, well, we just want to, our condolences for your son, your loss of your son. Quite a few people here just kind of giving some ideas about that. Didn't want to let that pass by. But at the same token, how can we help? Some people want to know, how can we help or support these types of activities, or your organization per se, in terms of fundraising? What can we do here? What can the different TESOL organizations, etc., do to help out?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, to help out BC TEAL or to help out in their areas?
I think the question per se corresponds to organizations like yours. In this particular case, it's not specifics to BC TEAL. I oppose that's the topic for today. But they just want to know, how can we help or support this wonderful organization? That's the exact words in terms of fundraising. Considering like someone on the outside of BC TEAL, or in another country somewhere else, who would like to, I don't know, support or even provide funding, or do something else in order to help out. I don't know. Join efforts.
Well, we're always happy to receive donations, and one recommendation that I'm going to make later is to seek matching funds, and I've highlighted it here as a fundraiser, because matching funds takes you so much further. When we established the first two refugee awards, the Galli and the Tcf Refugee Award, BC TEAL, we actually asked them to match our donations. So they actually chipped in $50,000 for each of those awards.
Oh, interesting.
So yeah, if you can find a way to find a matching donor, it really helps your cause go very far. And right now, going back, the Nicholas Collins Founders Refugee Award is, Nick donated $125,000, but it's a matching fund. So the TCF, we have raised $75,000 towards that, but we still need to go another 50,000. So any support we can get from anybody anywhere would be most welcome.
Okay. Another question here. Is it hard to get a gaming license in Ontario? Do you know anything about that, or we can expand on that? And you mentioned it just a few seconds ago.
Well, in BC, I know it was difficult. I submitted the application myself, and I contacted them, and I don't know why, but they were very difficult. I actually had to go on global TV on the news. I wrote to them and asked them to help out, and they came to interview me. And of course, the next day we received our gaming license, and it was the day before the event as well. So it didn't really help us out a lot. But yeah, I found it very difficult. Maybe some people are better at it, but I thought the application was fine, and it speaks to the fact that they gave it to us eventually. But I found, perhaps because we were just a small organization, maybe they didn't take us seriously enough. I'm not sure why, but I found it actually quite difficult and not worth the time.
Another question that comes through. What would you say is the best return on effort in terms of your different fundraising approaches?
Good one. That's a very good question. So at the Gala Wine and Cheese event, it does two things. First of all, of course, you're raising funds. People are having a good time. They're drinking wine. They're eating cheese. They're mingling. It's a night out. Sure. And we always have a silent auction at that event. So we do raise quite a bit of money from that event, but the grouse grind also, year after year, it seems like one will outdo the other slightly in terms of the return that we get, but both of those events seem to be the most successful. The silent auctions at conferences, we can raise maybe $1,000 up to $2,000, but the wine and cheese gala and the grouse grind event, we've raised up to 15,000 with those.
Oh,
When
okay.
we were establishing Tyga's award, I really, I contacted everybody that I knew, and of course people were sympathetic and they got behind it.
Okay.
And so I think I climbed the grouse grind 5 times one year, and I raised, for every $1,000 I raised, I said I would climb the grind once. So I raised $5,000. I climbed it 5
Okay.
times. I thank God I didn't raise $6,000 because it would have killed me.
That's you're telling me here that you're an excellent hiker is what I understand. Awesome.
I was.
Okay, okay. I've got another question here, a couple of comments, if I can just kind of round this up. And you never know where the money will come from or who is considering sponsoring, as they could approach many different associations and with TESOL. I'm gonna save this one. I'm gonna summarize it, and I will give it to you in at the next break. Just let me give me 2 seconds here. Sorry about that.
Sure. No,
It's a
it's good.
comment slash question, etc. Continue. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is what our grouse grind looks like. The top left, I think, is one of our first events, and that was quite successful. We don't have tickets, but we'll create a banner. We'll put it on our Facebook page. We'll promote it through the association. And an interesting thing, we'll get teams of teams coming out from different universities and colleges and EAL institutions, and they'll challenge each other, and who can raise more money, and it's fun. And you want to try to make it a fun event. We're lucky because on the BC TEAL website, the TCF has we have our own section, and we were able to create a fundraising page so that people could make donations directly off of the TCF website. That really simplifies things. It's just like a PayPal payment that you make.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we'll get like 40 people attending this event. It's a lot of fun.
Okay. No, the comment that I had earlier, sorry about that. Just a comment from TESOL Sudan. They were just saying that, yeah, really great initiatives and things of that nature, but also they are used to getting, I should say, unexpected sponsors to help out for their conferences as well from time to time. And so they just want to just kind of piggyback what you were saying earlier. And another question: have your fundraising strategies changed as a result of the pandemic?
The pandemic. Yeah, definitely. Well, to be honest, we put everything on hold this past year. We had some ideas to do some events, some kind of virtual events, and we had some people asking, are you going to do anything? I'd like to make a contribution. And a few people, we just, they just went ahead and made a donation to the association, like they would, to the foundation, like they would every year.
Okay.
We had a long discussion with the board members, the TCF board members on this, and we went back and forth quite a bit. I felt a little bit awkward this year asking people to make donations when so many people have been affected financially by the COVID pandemic. So many of our teachers are out of work.
Yeah.
That it felt a little bit awkward to make that ask this year. So, we're hoping that we can get the wine and cheese event going again in November, because it's a fun event. People really enjoy coming out and dressing up, and
Okay.
We think it'll be a good way for people to start mingling again. We usually do it in November, so hopefully we'll all be vaccinated by then. The restrictions will be eased up, and yeah, we're hoping we can do that.
got some ideas here about cycling to raise funds. And in the event that we're going to be cycling to raise funds, some ideas. Who would they need to contact to get permission in that particular instance?
I'm sorry, say,
Cycling. There's an idea about cycling, cycling in order
mhm.
to raise funds.
Yeah.
Instead of climbing the mountain, we're going to just cycle around for a bit. And so the question here would be, who would, they would need to contact in order to get permission in order to establish those types of activities.
Right. So we actually did have one group on Vancouver Island. When we were doing the grouse grind, they did a bike ride, and
Okay.
they contacted us. They let us know what they were planning to do, and we just pointed them to the website to
Okay.
create a donation page that they
Okay.
could point their potential donors to, and
Okay.
that was good. I think they raised over $1,000, just a small group of them.
Okay. Okay. Super. And just some
So
comments here about there's another initiative in TESOL Niagara where they had a golf day and also used
mhm.
an textbook sale before for some other things as well in order to gain some funds. So yeah, some really cool and I see interesting ideas out there. And I know somebody talked about being innovative and creative, I should say, in terms of trying to find new ways of getting, I should say, funding and things of that nature. Super.
Yeah, yeah. We had one of our, well, Carol May, actually, her brother-in-law was, I guess he had some kind of business where he would sell shoes and purses and things, and uh, his business was he was retiring, so he had all these purses, very high-end purses. And at one of the conferences, we had a purse sale, and we sold every single purse. I think only a couple of the ugly ones didn't sell, but I think we made over close to $3,000.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was, you bring purses to a TEAL conference and they're going to sell. Just
Okay.
let me make a few comments here about this event, the Tears to Smile. So part of the attraction is getting a high profile speaker. So I'm not sure if you're not in Canada, you may not recognize Ian Hannamansing, but he is a prominent anchor person on the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, or CBC News. So a very high profile individual, gave a fantastic speech. Again, he's a journalist. He's been involved in stories relating to refugees, most of his journalistic career, and he just gave such a fantastic speech. The picture below that, in the middle, you'll see our Elin Sun, who was the TESOL president for some time, and she was in town for our conference. We also had invited Kim Phuc, who was many of you may remember from the Vietnam War era, the girl in the photograph who was, um, burnt by napalm. She lives in Canada now, and she was a refugee to Canada. And we invited her to the conference as a speaker and to the event as a speaker as well. And then we had the former premier of British Columbia, Ujjal Dosanjh, who was standing just to the left. So again, having solid speakers, people who have profiles that people would want to hear, really helps. And these people donate their time. They didn't charge us anything to come and speak at our events. Top right corner, you see Nick Collins with his check for $125,000. That was a great event. And then one of our silent auctions just below. So that's our Tears to Smiles. Really love this event. And a few pictures of our past recipients. Ta Chin Lon, sorry, my daughter just got home. Yeah, she's saying hi. She was our first Refugee Award recipient, and this young lady, I believe she was from Myanmar. Her family was living in a basement apartment. They had no money. The parents didn't speak any English at all. They were just surviving, and Ta was working in a sea urchin packing plant after school to save money to go to school. So,
Wow.
giving her a $3,000 scholarship probably went a long way. Fast forward to 2020, we were able to offer 2 TIGA awards last year. one TCF Award, the David C. Lamb Award. And this year we're going to be offering one TIGA Award, two TCF, and one of the Nicholas Collins Awards, as well as the David C. Lamb. So it's growing. We're helping more and more students. It really is a fantastic thing. We created some great posters that we post up at the Tears to Smiles event, as well as the TEAL conferences, just telling the story of these refugee students. And if you can see the small script there, their stories when they submit their applications, when we're reading them, it's devastating what these young people have had to go through in their short lives, and to be able to help them with a little bit of financial aid like this is a privilege. Outstanding individuals. Challenges. Okay, so a few things now. If you're thinking about starting a charitable foundation, and it's something that, funny enough, just this week we had a call and a conference with the Alberta TESOL Association, and they are looking into establishing their own charitable foundation, and they were wanting our support, and they had lots of questions. We had a great conversation. We'll help them as much as we can, because wherever we can have these charitable foundations supporting teachers and students, it's great philanthropy. Some of the challenges, though, are sustaining the board membership. So most of us have made long-term commitments. Jennifer, myself, Carol, Virginia, Asa, we've all been with the TEAL board and with the TCF for well over a decade. You need to attract people who have philanthropic hearts. It has to be an honest thing. We've had people come onto the board who, clearly the intentions weren't right. It was more self-serving than it was to serve the community. And those kind of individuals don't really last, and they take up more of your energy to support them. So you really want to try to attract the people who have that, that innate sense of philanthropy. You need to build buy-in, create awareness of the mission of your foundation, and make sure that your members and your board are committed to the foundation. If there is that commitment, then people clearly want to help. It will happen. Fundraising, you have to be careful, because there's always competing interests. You're competing with other organizations. I found for fundraising, you really need to have a cause that people can get behind.
Okay.
And then make sure that you align your donors with the needs of the recipients. That's really important, that the donors understand what they're donating to.
Okay. Got a couple of questions here as well, if you will allow me. Someone's asking about, how about members of the association other than board members participating?
Absolutely, yes. We draw some members directly from the membership onto the TCF board. We've had plenty of those people, and annually we will send out a membership drive, because people burn out after some time. So we invite the TEAL members to join us as well.
Okay. And I've got another question here. What's the difference between a charitable foundation and a non-profit organization like TESOL International or any other affiliates? Since these associations, they also give grants and scholarships as well.
I'm not an expert, but I believe the charitable status, the charitable foundation, charitable society designation allows you to issue charitable tax receipts. The TEAL Association is a nonprofit as well, but pardon me, they were not able to issue those charitable tax receipts. So you have to have a charitable number, which we have. The TEAL Association doesn't have that.
Okay. And a few people are just curious about, how many members does the association have at the moment, and is it growing?
The TEAL Association has about 700. It has declined because of COVID. And again, at our peak, we were up over 1,000. It has gone down slightly, but is maintaining at around 700. The TCF is just the board. Oh, so the constitution of the TCF is interesting because our members, so we have the board of directors,
Okay.
which are the 6 of us, but our actual members are not BC TEAL members. They're the board of BC TEAL. So whenever the TCF has its AGM, we kind of piggyback it with a BC TEAL meeting so that we have all of the TEAL board members attending, because those are our actual members.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So in terms of some recommendations, if you're going to establish a foundation, it takes time. It's time well spent, but you do need to plan well. And there are lots of examples of constitutions for foundations. If you have questions, if you are thinking of doing something like this, please feel free to contact us at the TEAL Charitable Foundation. We're glad to help and support you. You need to plan well in terms of the foundation structure, who the members are going to be on the board, what kind of events you're going to do. I would encourage you to start small, but make sure that you focus on establishing endowments, because when I stepped onto the TCF board after I was president of BC TEAL, the mindset of the committee at the time was to just raise a couple of $1,000s every year and give it away as a scholarship. It wasn't a self-sustaining endowment. And I said, well, why don't we just raise $100,000, and then every year we can, be offering a $3,000 to $4,000 award, and we don't have to work for it at that point. And so we did. So we set a manageable fundraising goal. $100,000 was manageable. Seems like a lot of money, but you'd be surprised. You do 2 or 3 of these events and you're raising $30,000, $40,000. It doesn't take that long. But you do need to find your champions. And we have several. Jennifer, myself, Carol, Virginia, City, everybody on the board right now, they really go all out. And we've had other people like us in the past who have done the same. Nick Collins is another great example, right? Even, he's been retired from the profession and from the association for some time now, but he still comes back and makes a massive donation, or tries to help us in other ways. Really important to try to find matching funds. We were lucky. BC TEAL had a healthy bank account at the time, so they were willing to match us $50,000 each for TIGA's award and the Tcf Award. And then, of course, Nick gave us that $125,000. So matching funds are really key.
Okay. I got a couple of comments and questions right before we start to wind it down. Well, this is a comment about, is it necessary to be a member of TESOL International to obtain scholarships and awards? I would say yes, but I'm not sure if Jim or maybe Deborah would like to expand on that idea. And then she just actually put some information there in the chat box, so I don't have to say anything. Thank you so much, Deborah. And also, Deborah, she gave us some comments related to, she said, yeah, there are legal implications in the US about setting up a foundation as well as giving tax, I should say, receipts, just what Michael said. So she's recommending, talk to a lawyer before you get started in that particular instance. And then I have some people are looking for your contact information, Michael. So if you're up for it, I'll be more than happy to copy it and put it in the text box, if that's fine for you.
Yeah, I'm going to put it right in there now.
Okay.
I'll use my work.
Very good. And Lynn's asking a question really fast. How common is it for TESOL or TEAL organizations to have this charitable cause and set up a separate foundation for it?
Well, BC TEAL was the first organization in the world to establish one of these charitable foundations. That's what I've been told. And since then, I know TESOL Canada has a foundation as well. They offer scholarships. I'm not aware, Jim, maybe you have a sense of any other provincial associations? I'm not aware of any others. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not aware of any others, Jermaine. It's I don't think it's such a common thing. You really have to commit to it, right?
Okay. Okay. Well, Michael, I think we're coming towards an end. I'm not sure if you wanted to if you had any closing words or things of that nature you wanted to say. The talk was amazing. We learned a lot in terms of, I should say, charitable foundations, organizations. We also learned about, being able to, I should say, raise funds for different reasons. And as you can see, there are lots of people out there in need, in terms of students as well as teachers that would really, really benefit from these types of initiatives and things of that nature. I don't know if you have any closing thoughts or ideas, Michael, in that particular instance. Any tips aside from the recommendations you have here? There's some really good ones, but because I know there are lots of us that are willing or looking for opportunities in order to do what raise funds at the local or regional level in that particular instance.
Uh, uh, I think philanthropy at any
Yeah.
level is always a good
Sure.
thing. It's
Okay.
very gratifying. I was asked years ago, what do you get out of it? And I really have to think about it. And I think it's just that sense that you're contributing, you're doing something positive. And teachers in general, educators in general, I mean, we all got into education not to become millionaires. We got in it from for lots of different reasons, perhaps, but um, it's a sense of giving to others. So I
Okay.
think establishing a foundation, offering scholarships, it goes hand in hand with education,
Okay.
and it is for a greater good. It feels good
Okay.
doing it.
Okay, well, thank you so much, Michael, for taking a few minutes out of your busy schedule these last couple of weeks and there to spend some time with us. I'm sure your presentation will, I'm sure, no, I'm positive that you have left lots of us with, lots of questions and comments, as well as, I should say, more motivation to move forward and do these types of activities and initiatives in our regions and with our associations. I'm going to hand it over now to Jim for a few closing statements. Go ahead, Jim, all yours.
Thank you, Jermaine, and thanks for being our moderator today. And thank you to everyone who showed up. It's really wonderful to see as many affiliate leaders that are here. I won't point all of you out, but I really do appreciate all of you taking the time to come out and spend your day with us today. And one of the things that we'd like to do, of course, is to hear from you. We're always interested in hearing what you feel you need as affiliate leaders to help support you with the work that you're doing. I know that today's talk, for me, when I saw it as the chair of TESOL Ontario at the time, I was moved to tears to see the impact that all this hard work and effort was having from Michael and all of the other volunteers to be able to raise these funds and help people the way that they have. And so if there are ideas that you'd like to see in our webinars, we'd love to hear from you. I want to give a couple of quick shout outs about some of the things that we have coming up. We do have a call for our newsletter, which is at the end of the week. So if you have an anniversary, I know Michael BC fairly recently had its 50th anniversary. We love celebrating those things. And we'd love to celebrate any of the accomplishments that you've had, whether it's a convention or a conference, or if you have a milestone that you'd like to celebrate with us, we'd love to hear about it. We also are going to be doing a panel at the convention in March, so please keep your eyes peeled for that. But the last thing I'd like to say is we have a 3-day event coming in April. So please mark your calendars for the 9th, 10th, and 11th of April. We're going to be running a staggered schedule to make sure that we have something for everyone's time zones. So please keep your eyes out for that. We'll be looking to engage with you with several different topics, and you're going to be seeing presentations from just about every corner of the globe. So thank you for all of that. And I'll turn it back over to Lynn, who would like to share some more information maybe about the form that she's just put in the chat.
Thank you so much, everyone, for participating. And thank you so much, Michael, for sharing your experience. It's really a unique idea. And I hope that it has given some affiliate leaders and many other affiliate leaders some idea on this very important topic. So I would love for you to give some feedback and input for us as well. So I just put a link in the chat. If you can spend 1 to 2 minutes completing it, we would appreciate it very much. We hope to organize even more impactful events in the future as well. So we look forward to seeing you in March and April. And if you don't mind staying for a screenshot, we would love that as well. So can we do a screenshot?